What's going on? What's going on, film fam? Welcome to another episode of Let the Film Speak. I am one of your hosts, Chop. Here with my main man, Willie Jack. Willie Jack, how you feeling this evening, my brother?
Hey man, feeling good, feeling great. It's another Wednesday evening, and I'm talking ball with my dogs. I'm ready to get it going.
Absolutely, man. And y'all know what tonight is, man. Y'all know it's the same as always. So we definitely gonna touch on each and every game from this Wildcard weekend. So we're gonna recap each and every one of these games, talk about who were some of the top performers. We're also going to touch on the All-Pro selections, man. So we're going to run through some of those All-Pro selections, talk about who should have been in, who got in, who deserved to be in, all those different details. And we got a little bit of news for y'all today, man. But before we do that, of course, we got to go through the house rules. The house rules are the same as always, man. That's like, that's share, that's subscribe, hit that notification bell, be in the know, holler at your partners, let them know what's going on, and also share it, man. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and do all those different things. Let us know what's going on. Become the newest member of the film fam. You do all those different things. I said it out of order. It's all right, though. You do them all, and I guarantee you we will not let you down. Announcements, Willie Jack. We got some announcements, man. And we finally have a winner, dog. Finally have a winner. The weekly pick'em season is now officially over after we had to do a tiebreaker week for the divisional round or the Super Wildcard round, Wildcard weekend round of the playoffs. And the winner is none other than
who got it?
Brother-in-law Tory, man. Brother-in-law Tory came home. He brought home the victory, man, and it came down to one specific game, man. And that one game. Well, not one specific game, but yeah, he came and took care of business, man. He got that W, man. So, hey, shout out to brother-in-law Tory, man. He came away with the W in that, and he will take home this year's weekly pick'em trophy, man. So that's 2 years straight, Willie Jack. 2 years straight that Tory not winning this one. He didn't win this one, but 2 years straight he comes home with a trophy. So he won the Fantasy Football League last year, and this year he's actually taking home the weekly pick'em, man. So, hey, congratulations to brother-in-law. I appreciate you, my brother, for tuning in, for jamming with us. You know what I'm saying? And, hey, you got you a championship. So that will be coming your way soon. Just giving you an update on that and just want to give you your kudos.
No, congratulations, brother-in-law. Congratulations, bro.
Absolutely. All right, Willie Jack, we got a little bit of news, man. And the news is, I guess it's kind of light, but we do want to keep track of these things, man. We're going to do a little bit of head coach tracking, and the first news that we got in terms of that was a couple visits. So we already talked about the Gerard Mayo actually getting working through his contract situation and getting signed as the new Patriots head coach. But we had some more visits, man, and it came from, of course, the Michigan could possibly be soon former Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh, man. Jim Harbaugh, he had some visits. He visited the Chargers and the Falcons over this past week. Willie Jack, what you think about those fits, man?
I like both. I think the easiest one to connect them to would be, I think, the Chargers, a little bit more so than Atlanta. They've already got Justin Fields there. It's on the West Coast. We know what he did in his time on the West Coast in San Francisco. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe, is the Harbaugh family from the West Coast? No, I know he went to college in Michigan, but I think are they from the West Coast or that Bay Area? But
now, that's a good question. I'm not 100% sure on that.
I'm trying to think. I could be way off there, but I think the Charger one is the one there's been a lot of smoke there for that anyway. And so, like I said, when there's enough smoke, there's bound to be some fire. And so I think that's the one that does make the most sense. Make the most sense to me for sure.
Got you. And I like the moves too. The one thing that stands out to me is the fact that Jim Harbaugh was able to take a team to the Super Bowl, actually get all the way there. And to me, that speaks a few volumes in terms of how the possibility of you becoming successful. Normally, if it's any other college coach coming into the NFL, a lot of times I feel like, hey, man, this might be a little bit too much for you. But but to know that he has been in the NFL before and has been successful, actually lost against his brother in the Super Bowl, it gives me a little bit more of a confident feeling that he can come back, he can still be successful, especially with a team like the Chargers, who pretty much have a lot already in place, and then now it comes down to, all right, if y'all feel like he's the best fit or not. So I'm with you there, Willie Jack.
Right on.
Absolutely. And other news, Bill Belichick, man, he had his first visit, and it was also with the Atlanta Falcons, man. So Bill Belichick had a chance to go visit the Falcons. Of course, we know he is no longer the head coach of the New England Patriots. We'll have to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
And we know his long tenure and his long list of successes.
Man, that speaks for itself. Yeah.
How do you feel Bill Belichick would fit over there in Atlanta, man?
No, I love this one. This is the one I really enjoy because, like I said, I think this team has the kind of the bare bones of I think this fit makes more sense than some of the other fits because Belichick's gonna have, we know his style. He's very authoritative. He's very kind of very much, I guess, a dictator in the way he's gonna handle the team and handle the locker room. And so I think him walking into a team like the Falcons, where it's still a relatively young roster, I think it's harder to move and come into a building that has a lot of already established veterans, guys that are already getting paid. You know what I mean? Guys that already made their money and made their name in this league, and then to come in and try to, you know what I mean, talk to them like a drill sergeant and like this the first day of 2 days in college. So I think it does need to be a roster that's maybe still kind of growing, but does have solid bones in place. I love that they've got they have a very, very good offensive line. They've got the young, talented running back. They've got Kyle Pitts. They've got a Drake London. So they've got the bare bones right there in place. There's going to be ample veteran free agent quarterbacks to go chase and pursue this offseason as well, which is the move that I think that they'll probably end up making, especially if Belichick comes there. And then, and like I said, they've got some pieces on that defense as well, led by probably, all pro Jesse Bates, and they've got an older Calais Campbell. But so they've got pieces there. And then also, even in reading about the interview he had with Arthur Blank, Arthur Blank did the Belichick interview on his yacht. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many people been interviewed before, but I don't know if any of us been interviewed on a yacht. It's like, you know what? No, don't even worry about it, my boy. Chick-fil-A closed on Sunday anyway, man. We ain't going to the stadium. Yeah, come on, meet me at the
But
marina.
You know what? That's because he understood the assignment. Because truth be told, they not interviewing Bill Belichick. They not. Because Bill Belichick is interviewing them.
Hey, there you go.
Bill Belichick is a hot commodity. Hey, y'all want me. So y'all need to lay out the red carpet. I need a fancy meal. They need the whole ordeal. So that's why he brought out the yacht. He said, "Hey man, this is how we do it over here. This where we hold meetings." So Bill Belichick, would you like it in Atlanta?
No, for sure. And another thing as well, man, our dog ZB in the chat, he makes a good point as well. He said, man, Bill's 21 wins from the all-time record. Is that who's got that record? Not Joe Gibbs. Not Gibbs, not Landry. Is it Hallis? Who's got the all-time wins record as a coach for the regular season? Is that Hallis?
We're gonna find out.
Because Bills, I'll go ahead and post it. Oh, Shula. There we go. Damn, William. I should have knew that. Yeah, Don Shula. Yeah, so Bills 21 wins away from the all-time wins record, which man, that's massive. Oh, Hallis is second. That's right. Okay, there we go. Yeah, no, but Shula, I completely blanked on Shula. And I feel like I do tend to overlook Shula when we talk about the pantheon of all those the older coaches. But now I like what you said there, man. Bill's interviewing them just as much as they interviewing him for sure. And then I heard on another show or something like that, I don't know if it's Fox Sports or whatever, but I heard a very good point about this as well, is that Arthur Blank, and he's a sharp, if you're seeing, he's sharp now, he be sharp in attack, but he's like 80, 82. So they were saying he may be, he's a guy that would probably lean more towards an experienced, proven guy like Bill versus maybe going after a young, upcoming, hotshot, first-time coach that's going to need to sink his teeth in and rebuild and get it going. Because Arthur Blank, he ain't got time like that. You know what I mean? So he's just as anxious to win right now as Bill is. Because how much longer does Bill got? Bill's what, 71, 72? And so and then what I heard them say, I was like, you know what, that makes even more sense. That I think the more I hear about that or more I think about that matchup, I think that was a match made in heaven.
Absolutely, Willie Jack. Absolutely. All right, in other head coaching, I guess you could say it's a little bit of news, Willie Jack. And I don't know how most people will feel about this, but head coach Mike McCarthy, man, of the Dallas Cowboys, been noted today that he will be staying for another season as a Dallas head coach. And I know there's probably a lot of people out there wondering why, or they have their questions or have their certain opinions in regards to this. So I want to ask you first, Willie Jack, do you feel like he is deserving of another year? And if so, tell me why. If not, vice versa. Tell me what's going on with that.
Well, here's the thing about this for me is, I mean, he's been 12-5 for 3 years in a row. We know that. We know the shortcomings in the postseason. We do know that. But the thing about it is, for one, like, he took over the play calling this year, and we absolutely positively it cannot be denied. We saw an absolute career year from Dak Prescott in the offensive production, a career year for CeeDee Lamb as well. Now the run game struggled, and maybe even it could be said it maybe even took a small step back, if anything, you know what I mean? But so they
not even a small step. I think it was a huge step. But go ahead.
Yeah, and so we could say that, but it can't be denied what he did for Dak, simplifying the game and really. And what they were able to accomplish there. But then the biggest thing is, it's easy to say, well, fire him because he let us down, or fire him because he didn't live up to expectations. Well, who are you going to get? Because you're not the only people that would go chase Jim Harbaugh. You know what I mean? Who's to say that Jim Harbaugh prefers Dak to Justin Herbert? Who's to say Jim Harbaugh prefers Dallas to LA? You know what I'm saying? Or you're not the only person maybe chasing Bill Belichick. Does Bill Belichick want to come in and deal with Jerry Jones and and playing second fiddle to the owner, or having the owner kind of micromanage you? You know what I'm saying? Does he do? Are they guaranteed to go get a Mike Vrabel? And yeah, Mike Vrabel might be really good for that defense, but what's he do with this offense that we've just found? What does he do with this passing game that we just found and had us, as a top 3 offense in this league, and et cetera, breaking all the scoring records that we did this year? And so I still think there's a lot more questions than answers if you fire him. Like I said, so I don't want to I'd be remiss if I didn't say this as well. And shout out to No Boss No Glory, man. I've been catching their shows, man, and I tapped in their chat too. BP, if you're in the building, man, holla at me. But one of the things I commented in their chat as well is that Dak came out with a very strong endorsement from McCarthy in one of his final interviews, where he got up there and talked about he played terrible. He told everybody he sucked and he tried to shoulder a lot of that blame, and he flat out came out and said, like, man, I'm not playing as a Cowboy for anybody other than Mike McCarthy, or something to that effect. I'm paraphrasing a tad bit there, but it was a very public and very strong endorsement for Mike McCarthy. And I know Dak's contract, it's getting to that point where it's time to rework it or re-sign it. And so, and I think I don't know if there's enough to be gained by letting him go. And so I agree with it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not mad at the decision to keep McCarthy. But with this being, I mean, I'm sure there's no this unequivocally is, your last bite at the apple. You know what I'm saying? We got to do something to really fix and tighten that defense up, and we got to do something to find a run game. But I'm not mad at it in totality once I actually look at the landscape and think about who realistically are they going to get if they let him go.
Absolutely, Willie Jack, and I know people like to hear decisions, you know what I'm saying, in terms of or an exact opinion, but I'm still kind of in limbo in regards to the situation, and the reason why is because of what we saw a team do in terms of going backwards in terms of that run game. Granted, this Dallas Cowboys team look pretty good all year long. Okay, so got to give credit where it's due. But the one thing, and this was part of the reason why I said I would prefer not to play Detroit in the first round, is the fact that this team, quite honestly, was one-dimensional, in terms of the way that they were able to attack. And for you to come out and say, hey, I want to do this, or I want to take over this particular situation, or take over this offense, and this offense looked as vanilla as it looked, then I feel like we should have saw something better than what we saw in terms of just the overall balance. The passing attack was awesome. It was great. So I get that. But overall, I feel like we should have saw something a little bit better in terms of their balance. And I want to apologize to everybody out there, man. It looks like I froze on screen, so I'm gonna try to get this rectified. If I need to switch my screens, then I'll definitely do so. But as of right now, I'm gonna try to get this squared away, and get this.
Man, don't tell everybody. Just blink it off and blink it on and see if we get lucky.
Don't tell everybody. Everybody can see it. Everybody's looking at me.
I was about to say, just blink it off and blink it on. I'm talking about the. Yeah, go ahead, Brett.
I got you. Okay. So it looks like I'm still froze on that thing.
Okay.
Here's what I'll do then. I'll introduce the subject, and I'll try to get it squared away. But either way, and I'm gonna throw a little bit of a wrinkle in the game real quick, Willie Jack.
Okay.
But in some other news that I saw a little bit earlier today, I just got the message earlier today. But owner Jim Irsay, I don't know if you heard that news. Did you hear anything about that, Willie Jack?
Yeah, he may have.
Irsay.
Yeah, I heard. Yeah.
Unresponsive in his home, like in December. Jim Irsay, and it looked like he's recovering from a respiratory illness. And the coach came out and said they will have no further comment on his personal health, and they continue to ask that Jim and his family privacy be respected. So hate to see that, man. And I really any take on that, Willie Jack, in terms of that Jim Irsay situation?
Well, here's the thing. The story that I saw was that I saw the initial one where he was recovering some type of respiratory illness, and then I saw a new article. There you go. I saw a new article, honestly, earlier today that said that the respiratory illness story is actually a cover because he may have overdosed. Because Jim Irsay is no secret, or you know what I mean, he's a wild boy, and so he's had a suspension. I want to say maybe it was 2 seasons ago for he was speeding and got caught with I think a lot of pills or something or other, and he was suspended for I want to say maybe 6 games or so a couple years ago. And he's also I think had and I feel like I'm just like spreading bruh's business, but my bad. But I think he's also had like stints in rehab for like alcoholism or just partying hard. I think he's like, man, 68, 65, 68. He's in a rock band, and I think he's still living out his Led Zeppelin life. You know what I'm saying? Like he's still getting after it. And so they're saying I saw a story that said that it was actually an overdose, and that the respiratory illness story may have been like I guess a cover for that. But I ain't make the weather. I'm just reporting what's going on. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, man, you ain't spreading his business. You're not spreading his business. If it's out there, hey, it is what it is. I saw that
story literally earlier today.
I got you, Willie Jack. I got you, man. Well, real quick, Willie Jack, before we jump into these All-Pro selections, man, and talk about some of the guys that made it and go through the offenses and defenses, man, let's do a real quick film check-in, man. I saw some people roll up in the building, man. Go ahead, man. Let's do a film check-in real quick.
No doubt, man. First one through the door, man. The champ was in the building, man. Shout out to Day One Gang Jarrell, man. He was the first one through the door today. He said, "What's up to all the film?" He said, "Hey, man, it's a rough week for him. You know what I'm saying? He's just asking for a little grace. You know what I'm saying? A little empathy. You know what I'm saying? It was a hard night for him. And then you know what happened? ZB said, man, hey, look, man, damn all that, man. You know what was coming? Like ZB had no empathy for him at all, man. I thought ZB was in this thing as well, man. Shout out to the fam bam as well. My sister in the building. It looked like she didn't there with one of my nieces or nephews. I'm assuming that's my niece. What's going on with you? And then yeah, man. Hey, ZB might have hit the nail on the head. As soon as that tush push failed, the night was over. That was, it was a ball game.
You know that, especially a tush push. That's automatic.
A goal line tush push. Hey, it was a wrap, man. And so. That might have spelled the end, and then one more here. Then I think Mom's was in the building as well. I was looking for the comments. I lost you in all the comments, but yeah, y'all know what's going on. Appreciate all the love, support. The rest of y'all that's in here, I see y'all watching. Drop some in the chat so I can shout y'all properly. And yeah, man, let's go ahead and get going.
Absolutely, Willie Jack. Well, let's go ahead and jump into these All-Pro selections, man. The All-Pro selections have been made, and we want to jump into like the first team All-Pro selections, man. and just talk about those. And the way I'll do it is I'll go through a player or a few different players all together, and we're just gonna talk about them and talk about in terms of if we feel like the list was okay, we feel like somebody needs to be replaced on the list, and just so on and so forth. Willie Jack, I know you already put your All-Pro list out, so I know you got your own opinion in terms of the guys that should have made it, but we're gonna go ahead and touch base on it, man. So starting with quarterback, I feel like the quarterback is should be a list on his own. I know a lot of people have their different talking points in terms of that. But in terms of the quarterback, now keep in mind, everybody, I know everybody got the recency bias and watching the recent playoff games. This is a regular season award, okay? Let's just get that out of the way.
That's important,
Because some people pissed off at Dak Prescott right now. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want that to take away. But for the first team All-Pro, man, Lamar Jackson was selected. Baltimore Ravens. Willie Jack, how you feel about that one, man? You feel that was right? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, no, and so I mean, and I think on my list I had Dak Prescott first team, and then I had Lamar as my second team All-Pro quarterback, and then on the AP's list, Lamar's first team, they gave Dak second team, so it was swapped. But my reasoning for that is just game for game, I think Dak Prescott was the most productive quarterback in the league. Just singularly game for game, I think Dak played like I say, he was the best, most productive quarterback we had in the league. Now Lamar, I think definitely played the biggest in the biggest games or in the biggest moments for sure. And so, which like Dak's my second team All-Pro quarterback. He's probably going to be my MVP. And so it is what it is. But for the sake of this conversation, but I'm not mad at that though. Like I said, so I don't necessarily, I wouldn't like stand on the table to change or swap it because I can see the argument. You know what I'm saying? Like if the guy's going to be MVP, which all signs point there. If the guy's going to be MVP, it makes sense that he would be the first team quarterback. And so, like I said, I wouldn't stand on the table to change that one. But I had Dak personally when I did my own list.
Gotcha. I don't. My thoughts aren't too different from yours too, Willie Jack. So we'll just keep it moving in terms of that. But I'm gonna throw out a few skill position guys, man, and I'll bunch in the running backs with the wide receivers. I think that we can all say that there was only one.
We just probably just blaze through the running back, man. First team, Chris McCaffrey, the best in the business, man. Look, you ain't got to try to lump them in. Like, look, unanimous. First team, ain't nobody arguing with C-Mac, man. All right, let's hit these receivers. There we go.
Agree, Willie Jack. Agree. Fullback. They did have Kyle Juszczyk there. Tight end, first team All-Pro. They had George Kittle, and the three wide receivers they had for first team All-Pro were Tyreek Hill, CD Lamb, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. Willie Jack, what's your thoughts on that? Any problem with that? Any changes? What's going on with that?
Yeah, so similar to the quarterback situation, I didn't list a fullback honestly because every team doesn't keep a fullback, you know what I mean, officially. So there's three fullbacks to choose from. No disrespect to Juice, you know what I'm saying, Juszczyk, but if there's gonna be one name, then yeah, he's the guy for sure. Tight end Kittle, I'm on board with that one as well. Now the receivers for me, I also had Tyreek and CeeDee Lamb. That third spot, I had your boy, man. I had the rookie Puka Nacua. I had him as my first team receiver, and I had Amon-Ra St. Brown as my second team receiver. So I just had those two guys switched because on the AP, I think they're switched the other way around on the official AP. And the thing for me, Amon-Ra St. Brown had a fantastic year. It's a crime that he didn't make the Pro Bowl. You know what I'm saying? But he had a fantastic year, and but I think for me, to be a fifth-round rookie from BYU, we couldn't say his name until October. You know what I'm saying? We did, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think, like, and to go where to go to the heights that he did, and also let's not forget whose shoes he had to fill in for to start the season as a rookie. We were missing Cooper Kupp, the Triple Crown guy from just a year or two ago. And so those are very lofty shoes to fill. And that offense not only didn't miss a beat, that offense looked better than it had that year before. They looked like the offense they were 2 years ago when they were a Super Bowl competing team. You know what I'm saying? And that was strictly on his back. And so that's why I went ahead and gave the edge to the rookie. But I'm not mad at it. Amon-Ra St. Brown deserves all the flowers he can get. You know what I'm saying? For sure. But that's why I went Puka. But like I said, they were 1A and 1B as far as those for me. So I had them both on my list anyway.
Got you. I have no problems with the list that they made, Willie Jack. I'm 100% okay with that. I like the fact that you did give my dog a little bit of credit there, man. So I appreciate you for throwing Puka Nacua in there. But I think I would have went with a mine either way too, just off the strength of, I know Puka has been the guy, in terms of that offense, but Amon-Ra St. Brown has been too.
No, he has as well.
He's been the number one guy. And on top of that, if you just want to talk stat wise too, got in the end zone a few extra times, but as a rookie, that's very, very impressive what Puka has been able to do throughout the season. And I wouldn't have been mad at that, but he still gets his second team, so hey, that's still cool there.
Yeah.
So I'm with you there, Willie Jack. Offensive line. So at left tackle, we had Trent Williams out of San Francisco. Right tackle, Penei Sewell from Detroit. Left guard, Joe Thuney from Kansas City. Right guard, Zach Morton out of Dallas. And center, Jason Kelce from Philadelphia, who also announced his retirement. This will be his last season. What a phenomenal career he's had, and has only gotten greater with time. Willie Jack, any problem with the list that they chose for offensive line?
No, I think my offensive line was the same. Trent, Penei Sewell, Joe Thuney at left guard. No, I may have had Zach. I can't remember if I had Zach Martin on the first or the second team, but either way, I may be splitting hairs. I think on my list, I had a consideration there: Zach Martin, Chris Lindstrom from the Falcons, and then another one of your guys as well, man, Kevin Dodson as well, just to give him some love, man, for getting cut, all but cut by my Steelers. Sent him over there for a bag of change, and then y'all turned the boy into an all-pro contender. You know what I mean? So kudos to him, but I'm not mad at that one at all. I think Frank Ragnow probably gave Jason Kelce a run for that first team, but on my own list, I went ahead and gave it to Kelce. I had Ragnow on my second team, and I think the AP list had the same. Oh, also, it should be worth mentioning, I saw the story that Kelce had announced his retirement in the locker room after the game, but then I guess Kelce, on the podcast he does with his brother Travis, he came out and said that the reporter might have kind of jumped the gun, that he hasn't made an official decision yet. He does want to take some time, and it was emotional after the game, and so I guess he's gonna go ahead and take some time and fill out the process before he announces it emotionally or officially. But it seems like all signs are probably pointing towards that. He's a guy that's been considering retirement now for like 3 years. You know what I mean? He's said and talked about it before on his own podcast. But if he does hang him up, man, congrats, man. It was a hell of a career.
Retirement is one of those things where, man, you just got to make the decision and just do it. Because as a football player, former football player, and a lover of the game, after a couple months, you're going to miss the game. You're going to miss it. You're going to miss being around it. You're going to miss being around the guys. You're going to miss being out there on the field. Like, that's going to come. That always comes back. That almost never leaves. But you have to really just make the decision and say, I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? And just stick with that decision. You know what I'm saying? To say, all right, I'm completely done with this, with what I've been doing and just playing football. It's harder said, it's easier said than done. But I think when this comes to retirement, man, the longer you think about it, the more football starts to creep in. Like, hey, man, I'm still here. You still got it, bro.
no, and you know what? That's actually a very good point. But let's look at the other, just playing devil's advocate. Let's look at the other side of that coin as well. If it may be an itch you can never scratch, if you walk away and you still always wonder, like, man, look, what Coach Ford said, man. Coach Ford been holding on to that one play for 30 years, man. He got one more in him.
Right now, Coach Ford said you give him one play, man. Somebody get the ambulance getting called.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So sometimes it's like it could be one of those things too where 3 years go by and then that feeling never leaves. So sometimes, I would say, I mean, we don't want to see necessarily anybody, well, it's not up to us, but maybe don't drag it out in the media or have the media drag it out like we've seen before. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even want to blame Brett Favre for that. The media needed something to talk about in the summertime because ain't nothing going on, and they took it and ran with it. So it was what it was. But I'm not mad about a guy like get it all out, because that's one thing that we can say. A doctor can retire from being a doctor, and in 2-3 years, if he feels like it, he can pick it back up if he's still up on his clinicals or whatever, whatever he's got to do. When you set this down, you like, that's it. You know what I mean? You've got a finite opportunity to do it. He's still a super young guy. You know what I'm saying? He's old in the NFL. He's 35. You know what I'm saying? Like he's a very, you know what I'm saying? He's got, you feel me? Like, so when you set this thing down, man, that's it. And you're still so young, and so get all of it out. You know what I'm saying? Because it ain't promised. Like this is it. You know what I'm saying? This is it's so final when this game leaves you or when you leave this game.
I got you with it, Jack. And before we jump over to the defensive side, man, got a couple comments I want to touch on. First and foremost, got to touch on the wife's comment, man. You know, she know I'm cold with it, you know, but why I freeze on them like that? You know what I'm saying? Why I had to freeze on them like that? Because your boy's so cold, you know what I'm saying? So I had to do that. But Zach and Jarrell both come back with good points. I know you said it was kind of messed up that Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't get into the Pro Bowl. Mm-hmm. But this is a good point. He says, can we just send the all-pros to the Pro Bowl? I know the Pro Bowl means nothing at all, but Antoine Winfield not going while being a first-team all-pro is ridiculous. Fans don't.
We've seen that happen before.
Absolutely, Willie Jack. Absolutely. And you're absolutely right, Zach. And maybe they change it up at that point. But there's a lot that goes into it. And all of this, the only thing it's doing is taking away the validity of the Pro Bowl for guys that really like football. You know, for your average fans that don't really care and just fans of it, cool. But nah, this I like the idea of having that too.
Well, here's the other thing about it as well that we have to remember is that the Pro Bowl, it is for the fans. And so it is a chance for the fans or a big part of the Pro Bowl and what it's about is for the fans. Like the All-Pro, and that's the way I kind of look at it as well. Like the All-Pro list is the one that should be more so bare bones, what you put on the field, who's the best. Let's build the very best team we can out of everybody in the league, regardless of popularity or circumstance. And that's why, like, we've seen Richard Sherman be a first-team All-Pro a time or two and not make a Pro Bowl. We've seen you like this year with Amon-Ra St. Brown, Antoine Winfield, but the Pro Bowl is meant to have a fan element. And so that is why there's always going to be some disconnect there because fans, the casual fan for sure, they recognize the names more so than the games a lot of the times. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, that's how we can see, and I can speak to it on my team. Minka Fitzpatrick missed like 10 games this year. He's a Pro Bowler. You know what I'm saying? Because the casual fan still knows his name. You know what I'm saying? And versus they may not recognize or know the name of an Antoine Winfield who's definitely deserving. You know what I'm saying? So that's the only reason why I try to give it that kind of credence, knowing that it does have it's their version of the All-Star game, and so it's strictly an entertainment style of game and weekend and circumstances. So that's why it's always going to be a little different. But I would rather they get the Pro Bowl roster wrong than get the All-Pro roster wrong. I want the All-Pro team to be legit. You know what I'm saying? And in the Pro Bowl, I got to take it for what it is because it does take into account more so the fandom and things like that.
Well, speaking of wrong, Willie Jack, I'm going to tell them what the first thing they got wrong on this All-Pro selection, okay?
Come on with it.
Because let's go to the defensive side of the ball, and let's talk about the defensive linemen. I'll just run all four of them down. As far as edge rushers, they got Myles Garrett and T.J. Watt. And in the interior, they got Aaron Donald and Chris Jones. So let me tell you the one they got wrong. Myles Garrett. I'm going to tell you that right now. And I know a lot of people are not going to be okay with it or not fans of it. Myles Garrett, for the last 7 or so games, don't quote me on that because it could be a little bit more. It could be a little few. But around that time, the last few games of the season.
The last 2 months of the season.
Myles Garrett play drastically dropped. Now I know the way he started off the season, he was on fire. The way he was changing the game, he was the catalyst to that defense, and you know they won games themselves, and it was led by him. So not taking anything away from there. But the second half of this season, while other players were consistent, were playing consistent, he wasn't playing at that same level. And I think that other all-pro spot on the other side of T.J. Watt, to me, it needs to go to Max Crosby. Max Crosby had an outstanding season, and he also was leading his defense to one of the better seasons, and he was a catalyst on that defense, on a defense that didn't have as much talent. He was a game wrecker, more tackles for loss, more sacks. Like, Max Crosby had a phenomenal season, and I don't think he got enough credit for the type of season that he had and the consistency that he showed throughout the season, you know, and I felt like he should have had that spot along with J.J. Watt instead of
TJ.
Yeah, my bad. Along with T.J. Watt instead of it being Myles Garrett. So that's just my one-off.
No, I got you. No, And I felt the exact same way. So when I put out my all pro list as well, my first team was TJ and Max Crosby. And no, I think you hit the nail on the head. Like those were exactly my same sentiments on Myles Garrett, because he's still a fantastic player.
Absolutely.
So not to take it away from him, but I think on the season in totality, I think TJ and Max Crosby, I had those guys as my first team guys as well. And so I agree with you completely.
Absolutely, Willie Jack. Absolutely. All right. Moving on, let's get to the linebackers, Willie Jack. The three linebackers we had was Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, and Quincy Williams of the New York Jets. Any problems with those?
No, those three, I think those are the guys I had. Well, on mine, I didn't list three linebackers because nobody runs a three linebacker set anymore. Everybody's running some variation of a 4-2. You know what I'm saying? And then your nickel or dime safety or dime, whatever you want to call them. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody's running 4-3s. There's no typical 4-3 anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or
anyway.
And
I don't think it's in regards to like a lineup set. Willie Jack. I think it's just more so. All right, we're gonna have three linebackers as our all-pro linebackers because they still have a slot cornerback too.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying, and so that's what I'm saying. So like they're listing, there's 12 positions listed now, and see, to me that doesn't make sense. Like, shit, get off the pot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. Like the game, we don't have three linebacker sets no more. I mean, goal line package. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so I had Fred Warner and Roquan Smith, or I think are easy peasy. I don't think there's anybody there. I love the addition of Quincy Williams. Since I only listed two, Quincy Williams was my second team all-pro when I did my own list. And so the fact that he got recognized and was listed, I guess, on the first team because they listed three, I'm all for that, man. Quincy Williams been balling. Like, Quincy Williams has been playing damn good ball, man. He really came on strong. I want to say definitely last year, man, where I really started he started jumping out to me, man, watching when I go back and look at Jets film. And then, he had another very, very good, very productive year this year as well, man, for a Jets team that I think that Jets team just didn't get enough recognition for the defense that they played. They were still a very good defense, but then with playing with only one side of the ball, you can't fight back, man. It doesn't go as well as it could have went if they had a competent offense to balance them out with. But no, there was a lot of very good defenders on that defense, man. I'm glad Quincy Williams got some love.
Got you. And I'm with you there, Willie Jack. No changes for me. Now, I wouldn't have been mad to see Patrick Queen in that spot. I really liked the season that Patrick Queen had. I think Patrick Queen had a really, really phenomenal season playing alongside Roquan Smith. I feel like both of those guys were just – and those guys were a reason that they can play the type of defense that they play, because both of those guys not only are good against the run, but can cover and can fly too. You know what I'm saying? So having those versatile style running backs, versatile style linebackers that can, do multiple things, I think were very huge. So I like the season that Patrick Queen had, but I'm not at all mad about the Quincy Williams and Quincy Williams along with Roquan and Fred. So I'm with you there.
No, for sure. And then one thing we should say as well, man, just like you said with Roquan Smith may have saved or changed the trajectory of Queen's career. We forget, before Roquan got there in the middle of last season, Patrick Queen their bust was starting to float around his name. It hadn't panned out. You know what I'm saying? It just hadn't came together, hadn't clicked for him. And so getting Roquan in that building, and then honestly letting him be more Robin than Batman, and then also being next to Roquan, picking his brain and playing off of him and with him, has just completely changed the trajectory of where it was looking like his career was going. Honestly, you know what I'm saying? It was really kind of trending the wrong way. And so shout out to Roquan, man. And they really got a little Patrick Willis and Navarro Bowman kind of style of tandem going, you know what I'm saying? And so, but they ain't quite that. But they got that style of tandem going, man. So kudos to Patrick Queen, man. He did have a great year.
Gotcha. They still got some years to go, Willie Jack. They still got some years to go. On to the next level. Let's go to the defensive backs, man. And I'll just read off all five of them. So as far as cornerbacks, outside cornerbacks, they got Deron Bland, Sauce Gardner. Slot cornerback, they got Trent McDuffie. And then the two safeties. ZB already mentioned it. Antoine Winfield was one of those guys. And Kyle Hamilton was the other safety. I know Willie Jack really, really loved Kyle Hamilton and his season that he had this year. So, Willie Jack, any problem with those guys?
No problems. I think the guy that's left off of both teams is L'Jarius Sneed. And he didn't have any. I don't think he had any interceptions, but L'Jarius Sneed played lockdown ball for this whole season. I mean, and I've thought about it. I'm trying to think if there was like a week he got exposed, like we saw DeRon Bland get his cookies took on national television all night long. You know what I'm saying? He gave up 2 touchdowns in the game. They called another one back on a bogus, some type of bogus review play. You know what I'm saying? Like got cooked. Now he bounced back and he grabbed one himself. But anyway, what I'm saying is like L'Jarius Sneed played damn good ball this year. And on my personal list, I had him listed as the other first team corner across from DeRon Bland. Giving kudos and giving credit to the sack production, the interception production for sure. I like the addition of Trent McDuffie in the slot as well. He also had a fantastic year. Yep. And so I know on the second team they had Teron Johnson, which is I think those are perfect. And you know, like I said, those 2 guys in those spots are perfect. So I'm not mad at that at all. And then Kyle Hamilton for me, dog. He really was he was a bigger Antoine Winfield. You know what I'm saying? Like guys that really move around a lot. Now Winfield doesn't have near the size of Kyle Hamilton, but he'll line up as your slot nickel defender and he'll cover. You know what I'm saying? He'll line up as your traditional box safety. He'll come down and lay wood. You know what I'm saying? He'll split the field with you. He'll split it and cover his half. You know what I'm saying? He'll play sink. So a real do it all guy, a young guy. He really kind of came into his own. Really came to his own for me this season as well, man, and had a fantastic year. So I'm not mad at that at all.
Yeah, and the safety position was tough. So I agree with you on L'Jarius Sneed, but the safety position was tough, man, because I think on par with those 2 guys that made the first team at safety, Jesse Bates, man. Jesse Bates had a phenomenal season as well. And I honestly don't feel like no matter how it's, I think to me, in my opinion, all 3 of those guys deserved equally to be on that first team, but you got to pick 2. You only get a chance to pick 2. So with that being the case, Jesse Bates was an odd man out in this conversation, but Jesse Bates had a phenomenal season and was lights out all year long, and was one of the biggest reasons why the Atlanta defense took the leap that it took this year.
Yeah, and they gave him second team, so he was the second team guy. And so when I did mine, like the spot they gave Trent McDuffie in the slot, I had Bates and Hamilton as my 2, I guess, safeties going free and strong. And then in my flex role, I guess this year they actually just call it slot quarterback. They used to call it flex because it could be an additional defender, either a safety or a cornerback. And so I had Antoine Winfield as my flex defender in the first team. So I had all 3 in mind. I guess maybe I cheated the system, but I hadn't noticed before. This is the first year that I feel like I've seen them actually list out specifically slot cornerback as its own position. That used to be flex, and they used to have a flex on the offense as well. There used to be a flex position because I remember Le'Veon was a first team All-Pro. He was a first team running back, and he also got first team flex. He was a double All-Pro on the same list because they used to have a flex on offense and defense. But no, like you said, man, 2 spots for 3 guys, and all 3 of those guys were deserving.
Absolutely, Willie Jack, with you there. And then last but not least, man, gotta show him some love, man. Run through the special teamers, man, that made the All-Pro team. As far as the place kickers, we got Brandon Aubrey from Dallas, man, lights out all year long. Punter from Las Vegas Raiders, got AJ Cole kicking bombs all year long. And then the kick returner, they had Keyshawn Nixon out of Green Bay, man. For punt returner, my guy Rashid Shaheed, so they had him as the punt returner. Special teamer Miles
Killebrew from my
Killebrew.
Steelers.
There you go.
I think he blocked like 3 plus. He blocked like 3 kicks this year. Yeah, he was a stud, especially stud. Yeah.
Okay, and then for the long snapper, I lost my list. Okay, for the long snapper, want to show all these guys some love here. We got Ross Matisic. Ross Matisic out of Jacksonville. He's the long snapper that made that All-Pro team. So yeah, man, want to show those special teamers some love there, Willie Jack.
No doubt, man. Yeah, kudos and shout out to the kid from Dallas, man, Brett Aubrey. He was banging them hoes he was booting them things all year long. I think he missed his first official field goal in the playoffs. Did he miss one officially in the regular season? I don't think he did. Not a field goal. I think he missed the extra point.
Hey, the boy was lights out. I know that. I know it was one particular game. He hit a few bombs, boy.
That's what I was about to say. He had a game. He had like 4 kicks that totaled like 250 air yards or something, you know what I'm saying? Something crazy. Yeah, like a game with like multiple 55+ yard kicks or something crazy like that. So yeah, he definitely did the damn thing, man. And mind you, he's a 27-year-old rookie because he was in the MLS, the America's Major League Soccer. And so kudos to Will McClay, man, and that Cowboys team for even going and finding him and grabbing that kid.
Gotcha, for sure. All right, Willie Jack. We done went through all pro selections, went through the news and all those different things, man. Now I think it's about time we take a little bit of a break, man. Let's go on a little bit of a break, and then when we come back on the other side of this, man, we're gonna go ahead and jump into the games, man. What we came here for to talk about some of these playoff games, and then we got the previews too. We got a couple Saturday games coming up, so we got to give you the previews of those games, man. So y'all stay tuned. We will be right back.
For sure.
Episode of Let the Film Speak, hosted by the wonderfully handsome and intelligent brothers of Let the Film Speak. That's Chop and your main man, Willie Jack. You feel me? Also brought to you by the three amigos. Y'all know them and you love them, man. That's the three amigos. That's like, that's share, that's subscribe. That's three the hard way. That's the 3-piece spicy. You cannot go wrong. Now, I say the same thing every week, so y'all can say that at home with me. I know y'all ready for it. Here we go. It's three amigos, but it's 4 parts to this process, big dog. First, you just got to tap in. Like my dog said, man, come in, tap in. Just say what's up, man. Just holler. Hey, what's up, three amigos, man? Like, share, subscribe. Hey, Chop, man. Willie, man, what's going on, man? It's cool. I sit on the couch. For sure. Y'all got something cold to drink? Oh, man, my man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. By the way, man, I'm a Broncos fan. That's all you got to do. That's it. That's easy. And Chop, come in, sit down, get comfortable, get a cool adult beverage, and let us know who you ride with, big dog. Then tell a friend. Like, man, that's a nice feeling here, ain't it? Man, it's cool, man. My homeboy was out. He was down. Man, it's cool. I can tell a friend. Tell a friend, man. And you know what? Even better than that, you can tell your friend to tell a friend. Guess what? There's more. You can tell your friend to bring his partner to. Bring one more because we need 4, man. Bring them up into the penthouse. Tap in with your dogs, man. Wednesdays at 7 o'clock. You know we don't wear no watches. We ain't got nowhere else to be but in here kicking football flavor with the fam. And now back to the regularly scheduled program. All right.
All right, man. So let's get back to it. And of course, we had our Super Wildcard weekend this past weekend. We already touched on the Browns and Texans. Just give you a recap, of course, if you're a fan. And a terrible time in here. He's been letting us know Texas going to the Super Bowl. So the Texans won the game 45-14. And in terms of the Dolphins and the Chiefs, man, Chiefs won that game at home 26-7. You know what I'm saying? So now let's jump into our Sunday and Monday games. And the first game we're going to jump into is the Packers at Dallas, man. And the Packers went to Dallas and they made a statement. They win this game 48-32. Looked like the game was a little bit closer than what it really was. Don't let the score fool you, man. But the Packers came and took care of business, Willie Jack. So Willie Jack, talk to me, man. Talk to me about this game, man. What happened, man? What are we watching?
Man, I tell you what, man. The Packers flat out came into Dallas and just dominated this game just right from the opening tilt. And so Aaron Jones was a monster on the ground. He goes 21 for 118, 3 touchdown scores, and really was unstoppable. And then and we've been talking about it. We've been saying his praises here now. I think we've been saying this ever since they got off that bye week. Jordan Love, and this is a kudos to your boy Matt LaFleur as well. He's really just taken his game to another level. And I think now with the stage that he just had, Wildcard weekend, the first 7 seed to win a playoff game. Now that's a nothing. I hate when we kind of get those kind of nothing stats. There's only been 7 seeds for 2 years, and so whatever. But the first 7 seed to win a playoff game, and you do it in that fashion in Dallas, prime time, and we watched the star be born. And so Jordan Love, 16 for 21, 272 yards. Two or 3 touchdowns. No, I think 3 touchdowns himself. 3 touchdowns himself, no interceptions. And what was so impressive about it is just kind of looking at the lineage of quarterbacks that we've seen there, starting with Brett Favre, the gunslinger himself. You know what I'm saying? Rolling out, booting out, throwing 70-yard lasers. Then we transition to the new age gunslinger and Aaron Rodgers. Off-platform throws, jump balls that go 60 yards on a rope, on a line, you know what I'm saying, in stride. And then now we see the third iteration of that style of guy. How many fadeaway dimes did we see from Jordan Love, bruh? How many fadeaway buckets? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm talking about some of the passes and throws that he was making, mind you, also finding some of these guys butt-ass naked. So I don't know what was going on in the secondary, you know what I'm saying? But, like, Imagine Steph Curry pulling up from the opposite free throw line with turnaround jumpers that just don't find nothing but the bottom of the net. Like, that's what we watched Jordan Love, bro. Some of these is what, that's how I felt watching some of them, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, when Dallas was able to get a little pressure, you know what I'm saying? We see Jordan Love like kind of backing up, buying time, and then he did like a little hop step back and for 6. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, just 6, right on the money. You know what I'm saying? And like Stephon Gilmore, who had a fantastic year. You know what I'm saying? He's getting older. He comes over. You lose Trayvon Diggs, so that Gilmore signing was phenomenal foresight. You know what I'm saying? Perfect timing. You get an explosion from DeRyan Bland, who's first team All-Pro. And so one of the strengths of this defense had been like those guys on the outside. Man, I saw 22 and 23-year-old rookie and second-year players out there honey roasting both those guys. You know what I'm saying? I saw Stephon Diggs get lost somewhere around the middle of the field. Meanwhile,
Stephon Diggs. Hold on. Who you talking about?
Stephon Gilmore. Yeah, Stephon Gilmore. Yeah, Gilly. The kid. Not the kid. Gilly, the grown man.
Yeah.
That Gilly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Getting turned around and lost on a we can call it a post corner, because you know what I'm saying? He folded it in and dropped his weight and left Gilly picking up his ankles at midfield and breaks it back out. On this same throw, Jordan Love is doing his same thing. Turn around, fade here. Here's 45 on the line. You know what I'm saying? Now take that to do something with it.
Hey, the crazy part is you sounded like Jair Alexander when he did that one interview.
Hey, for real. Oh, and speaking of, Jair Alexander goes and gets him one. You know what I'm saying? We see him go get one. That would have been a touchdown, pick 6, if he got, you know what I'm saying? He got touchdown, I guess, on the interception. Their bodies touched on the ground or whatever the case. And so, thank God, because you could have got 50 balled at the crib, Dallas. You know what I'm saying? And so, but not to be outdone, Darnell Savage say, oh, y'all going to take my dog's touchdown away? Don't even trip, dog. You know I wouldn't even trip, Chop. I got you. Give me that. And now I'm going to the crib in that thing. You know what I mean? And so, just a terrible job, man. And even on the interception. Now, the first interception from Jair Alexander. No, yeah, that was the first one, actually. But that one for Jair Alexander, trying to fit a ball into a tough play. I mean, it was a great play by a great player in Jair Alexander. The second one was forced. You down 14-0, and so now they run in. It was a trips concept to the left. I'm not gonna try to bore y'all with all the technical, you know what I mean, whatever. But they got
learn them something, Willie Jack. You gotta learn them something,
man. They're running a mirrored slant or maybe a double post, whatever you want to call it, depending on depth. Let's just say they running a mirrored double slant route. So Gallup is the 3, the closest receiver to the inline of scrimmage. He runs his slant. He's clean. CeeDee Lamb is the 2. He's the second receiver outside of, like, let's say the tackle, right? So he runs the mirrored slant behind it. Now, when you draw that up on the board, that first slant is supposed to draw the attention of the guy and kind of clear it out so that CeeDee comes in behind him and now he has room to work. Well, the safety, Darnell Savage, they rotate safeties as like let's just, for simple sake, let's just say, I think he was in man, honestly, but let's say he's playing like more so of a robber. So he sinks down on Gallup, but he doesn't fully bite. So when Dak lets it go, he jumps right in front of CD. And now 30 years later, I'm dancing in the end zone. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so it was just they just flat out just got outplayed. They got out schemed. They got outplayed. And then what? It's 27-0. It's 21-0 at halftime, I think. And then I think it's 27-0 before Dallas finally gets on the board. And there was a point in this game, Green Bay pulled the starters. Jordan Love came out the game. Jordan Love and some of those guys end up coming out this game because it got to like 41-14 at a certain point. And I guess I was gonna say kudos to Dallas. You ain't getting I'm not even gonna give you that stripe. Y'all got waxed. You know what I'm saying? And then the starters come out on the other side, and you know what I'm saying, Green Bay's just doing everything they can to just get out of here. Just the clock couldn't run fast enough. So, Dallas is like, okay, well, shit, while y'all waiting on y'all bus to warm up, we might as well score a couple touchdowns. And so then we see Dak find Jake Ferguson in the end zone. He ends up finishing with an awesome day. Statistically, 10 for 93 and 3 touchdowns for Jake Ferguson. You know what I'm saying? And so they get on these garbage style of touchdowns to kind of close the gap, relatively speaking. You know what I'm saying? And so it winds up 48-32. But shit, this game could have been 60-0. You know what I'm saying? This game could have been, I mean, it could have been a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? But just a terrible, terrible conclusion to a season. And this was really a season in which the way this playoff bracket lined up, it was really lining up super favorably for Dallas to make to the NFC Championship game at the very least. But and maybe you have to go to San Francisco there if you're just playing it by chalk, just playing the board how it would line up. But let's say if San Francisco stumbles, we've seen them stumble a couple times this year. You know what I'm saying? Let's say if San Francisco stumbles, well, now everything's got to go through Dallas. Dallas was undefeated at home for the last 2 years, Chop. This is the first loss they had in Dallas Stadium. They were 16-0 before this loss in the crib. Now, there was a couple controversial ones. They probably should have lost that Lions game at the crib. We know about the call with the linemen. They probably should have lost that Seattle Seahawks game as well. You know what I'm saying? There was some funky stuff going on there as well. But be that as it may, it is what it is. They were 16-0. Hadn't lost in the last 2 years and were averaging like 40 points at the crib. You know what I'm saying? Like, so everything was just shaping up and culminating that this, and I hate even saying this because this is the typical Cowboys rhetoric. This is our year. And it looked like it was finally going to be true this year. And then you utterly and completely pissed the bed on national television to the 7th seed Green Bay Packers had a team. It was the JV team coming in there and spanking the damn state champ varsity unit from Texas. It was that lopsided of a game and of a disparity in perceived talent, we should say. You know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy, crazy to see it.
Ain't it amazing, Willie Jack, how many times as fans and people who really love the game, we get drawn in to these other circumstances, to these situations, and we get drawn into these situations and forget about the actual personality or the traits of these teams. And I talk about it for both teams, right? So for Dallas, doesn't matter, what happens the year before, you know what I'm saying? It's like, oh man, this year they looking real good. Yeah, they looking real good, man. They rolling at the right time. Dak and CD got it going, and then boom, they hit us with the old faithful, which is we not gonna be able to make it past the first or second round of the playoffs, depending on who we got. Last year they made it out the first because they had a 7-9 or 8-9 Tampa Bay Bucks team in the first round, you know what I'm saying? But they didn't make it much past that. And we
they got waxed at home by the Niners.
So they got waxed. And then this year, oh man, here we go. And again, boom, by the Green Bay Packers, the 7th seed. You know what I'm saying? A team that wouldn't normally even be in the playoffs if we were still at the old format, the 16 format. You know what I'm saying? So you had those type of things happening. Then on the other side, you got the Green Bay Packers. In regards to circumstances, we get everybody gets drawn in because of the Aaron Rodgers antics. You know what I'm saying? The reason why they draft Jordan Love and what are the Packers doing? Why they ain't gonna get no weapons for Aaron Rodgers? Meanwhile, right after Aaron Rodgers leaves, Jordan Love is making a statement and say, all right, I'll show y'all what we do with these weapons. This is what we do. Also, don't ignore the fact that we've been doing this with quarterbacks for the last,
35 years.
How many years Aaron Rodgers was a starting quarterback there? How many years was Brett Favre? Put those years together, with those two guys. We've been doing this for years, brother. I don't know what everybody out here talking about. We've been grooming these quarterbacks, and now it looks like, as my dog Zach the Max says, it looks like they done it again. And honestly, it looks like we're watching a star in the making, a guy that is making a name for himself, and a guy that's firmly trying to place himself amongst the top quarterbacks in this league, and it's showing at the right time. And these are the things that you look for, man, that you want to see from your guy, from the guy that's leading your team, because at the end of the day, if they're not showing up in these type of games, regardless of the outcome, show up. You know what I'm saying? Like it was some other games we watched where the quarterback didn't win, but the quarterback showed up. You know what I'm saying? And that's all we really asked for. And Dak Prescott, you ain't show up. Yeah, when we go
until you was down 40.
Yeah, and it was too late, so you ain't show up essentially. But
Exactly.
here's what people like to do, right? Here's what people like to do, and I hope we remember this, Willie Jack, because we gonna get them. We're gonna get the people that come in and say, "Man, no, Zach threw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game. It wasn't Zach's fault." Because they don't remember the game. Come on, man, stop playing.
Don't read the stats. Watch the game.
Anybody that watched that game know Dak didn't show up. Dak made a lot of crucial mistakes in this game. But looking at the stats, it looked like the boy was balling. It was a duel. They was dueling.
Right. Dak just got outdueled.
He just got outdueled, man. His defense let him down. Hey man, come on, man. Forget all that. But ultimately, the Packers are showing up at the right time, and we've seen it time and time again. The team that gets hot at the right time is a team that can really go far in the playoffs. And right now, I don't know how many teams are out that are hotter than the Packers right now. The Packers are playing some of the best ball. They're hot right now. Hey, you just got to give them their credit, Willie Jack. So kudos to the Packers. Kudos to Matt LaFleur. Kudos to Jordan Love. Aaron Jones had a 100-yard game. Romeo Dobbs showed up big. And that's what you need too. You need some of your role players to go, the guys that are not your main guys, to show up too in order to come up with some of these W's, man. And they did. A lot of those guys did show up. So got to give credit where credit is due. And back to the drawing board for Dallas Cowboys, man. Y'all going back home, get yourself together, and get some stuff figured out.
And you
go ahead.
Oh no,
I got a question for you in a minute, though, Willie Jack. I got a question.
Okay, and I was just gonna say, man, and they showed a crazy statistic that I wish I'd have seen before we was picking those games. Apparently, since Jerry built that Jerry World AT&T Stadium, Green Bay's 6-0 in that stadium. I didn't know that. I didn't know that stat before this game. Like Green Bay, they own that damn stadium. You know what I'm saying?
I used to call Aaron Rodgers the Cowboy killer, but it looks like it's just a Green Bay thing.
It might just be a Green Bay thing, boy. They just got the day. Jordan Love just picked it up and ran with it, boy. Hey, he just carrying that torch like he need to.
I got a question for you, Willie Jack, because I want to dive into this just a little bit.
Sure.
All right. Do you see any reason to rebuild, not because you lack talent, because I don't think this Dallas Cowboys team lacks talent, but do you rebuild because you need new energy and you need new guys with a different aura about them? Because this is a real thing now, Willie Jack, and the pressure doesn't get less. The pressure actually increases year after year, because let's say Dak Prescott comes back next year, right? The pressure is going to be even bigger, because you not only got this team that you're facing, you battling yourselves, because it's like you got to get this monkey off your back. You go into these games in the playoffs knowing who people view you as. They view you as the choke artist. This is the team that can't get past the big moments. After so many times doing it, Willie Jack, thinking about this, can you actually say, all right, this is a reason to rebuild or regroup, or maybe replace? I don't know what I'm trying to say. Replace the leaders, the guys that's going to really lead my team, because I need some guys that's going to come in with some moxie, with some guys that's going to come in and say, hey, man, worry about that. We're going to go out here and win this game. And right now, with all that pressure that's going to continue to build, can you rely on the same guys that you've always had to get you out of that? I don't know.
Well, for me, I would say hell yeah, because Dak's getting paid $52 million a year. I don't want to hear shit about pressure, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel my hands shake every time I write them $30 million checks, bro. So I don't want to hear nothing about, like, he's getting paid for that pressure. I don't feel bad for him like that.
And
I'm not gonna feel bad for him for that, bro.
No. I don't feel bad for him. I'm talking about from a GM's perspective.
Okay. Also,
because regardless of the money that I'm spending on him and how I don't feel sorry for him, that still ain't gonna change him. Dak is who he is, and if he's the type of guy that doesn't rise up in these situations, is he ever? You get what I'm saying?
No, okay, I see what you're saying. Well, I don't necessarily think with Dak that it's a confidence thing, or I don't think he's unable. He just and it's not always on him. You know what I'm saying? Now he played poorly in this game. It can't be understated.
No, and it's not always on him. You're right.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily always on him. But I don't think, like, he doesn't look like a broken player. Like what happened to Jared Goff in LA is, I think Sean McVay thought that Goff was broken, or it looked like he didn't have it. You know what I mean? But I don't think that's it with Dak. Now, what I would say is, and this is one of the reasons I also said about as far as like, even if I'm Jerry Jones, I'd have to have a specific guy that I know that I could go get right now if I was going to make a move, because for everything that went wrong with this team, they're still right there. You know what I'm saying? There's no way to change or rebuild, especially if you're going to do something at a critical position, like you're saying. Like, man, dude, is Dak just not it? Can we go get somebody? Well, then we don't get to start right here no more. And the truth about it is, every year you're gonna have to start fresh. But I'm saying, like, they're still right here. A change in leadership completely, you don't get to build on that momentum. You know what I'm saying? So now you got to come in, because now everybody's got to learn Chinese, because a new coach comes in with his own system, his own plays. Now everybody's got to learn a whole new language. And so you're conceding the progress that you've made, because they still took a step forward above last year than they did this year. So they're still progressing. And so I think a drastic change, especially in one of those critical leadership positions, like firing the coach in McCarthy, if you try to make a move off of Dak Prescott, you know what I'm saying? Even hell, the move last year to get rid of Kellen Moore, you know what I'm saying? That could have went drastically the wrong way. Now, the guy who's the head coach is also the guy who took over the offense and called the plays, and I think that actually helped smooth that transition, because if it was just a blanket wide ass open brand new offensive coordinator that came in with a completely different language, like I said, a playbook is learning another language on the fly, and then, you know what I mean, it wouldn't have went as well. And so I think if they're still in the window, that's to sum it up, they're still in the window. So while you're still in the window, I think we add to it, we don't take away. Now, if we get to the point where we keep crumbling and now we've fell out that window, or, you know what I mean, then I think, okay, if we still got these same stars, but we're not within a grasp of that real championship run, okay, then yeah. But as long as you're still in the window, I say you keep adding to it. Don't take nothing away from it.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, Willie Jack. Well, we're gonna keep an eye on it, of course. Let's move on, Willie Jack. And hey, Willie Jack, let me get you prepared, okay? Because these next two games gonna sting us a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Back to back. They're gonna sting a little bit, but we gotta rip that band-aid off at some point. You know what I'm saying? And I will go ahead and be the example. I'm gonna rip my band-aid off first.
I appreciate you.
I'm gonna rip my band-aid off first.
I'm not ready.
Right, man. I'm gonna rip my band-aid off first, and then we can just double team Jarrell. That's how we can do this.
Hey, there we go. Hey, sorry, day one game.
But yeah, man, the Los Angeles Rams, they go to Detroit to take on the Lions, man. The Lions win this one at home, 24-23. Got to give credit to the Lions. Got to give credit to Dan Campbell, man. Mm-hmm. They came out, they fought, they did what they always do in these games. They were aggressive, and they got the W, man. They went out and they earned their W against us. Shout out to Jared Goff, too. I know Jared Goff wanted this one bad. Willie Jack said this before the game. If there's anybody who wants this game more than anybody else out there on the field, Jared Goff probably wanted this one, man, and they got it. They win us 24-23. And the one thing that I was worried about, and I said this at the top of the show, pretty much showed up. You know, the Lions were a little bit too dynamic. And like I said before, it was the reason why I didn't necessarily, if I had my chance to choose at the team that I wanted to face, it wouldn't have been the Detroit Lions out of the teams that we had the opportunity to face. And it was because they're just a little bit more dynamic on offense. They have multiple ways they can beat you. And quite frankly, I got a little afraid at one point in terms of this game getting out of hand. We got down 14-3 in the first quarter early, Willie Jack.
Yeah.
It was looking ugly, man. It was looking ugly. But I also got to give credit to Matthew Stafford, man. Matthew Stafford balled in this game. And I don't know if anybody else watched the play for play, man. Just watching some of the throws, some of the arm angles, some of the situations he was put in, and still being able to drop some dimes under pressure in key downs, key situations, 3rd and 16s. He was honestly able to keep us in this game, man. So I got to give some credit to Matthew Stafford in the way that he played. And yeah, man, he helps keep us in this particular game. And if it wasn't for him, I don't know. Also, want to give credit to Puka Nacua. Puka Nacua showed up, but this game ultimately came down to the Lions being dynamic and what they were able to offer and do to us. Kyron Williams was banged up a little bit in this game, so I think that hurt us a little bit. And then also the one flaw I always talk about in terms of Sean McVay, man, the time management. Use the utilization of all of his timeouts in the second half.
Bro, yeah, it was like 6 minutes left. Y'all didn't have no timeouts.
Bruh. Like these are things that he does in these crucial games when we're going to need it. You know what I mean? Like we're going to need these timeouts. You know what I'm saying? And granted, he's betting on his guys. He's betting on his team because ultimately we had a chance to really go ahead and start taking control of this game in the second half. We had the ball, but we had 3 crucial drives that stalled. One stalled on like the 11-yard line, one stalled on like the 7 or something like that. We got inside the red zone and couldn't punch it in. You know what I'm saying? We had to settle. And I think those situations hurt us. We stayed in the game, but those situations hurt us because we needed touchdowns in these games, especially with the way the Lions offense was rolling, the way they were moving the ball, the way they were able to find guys. And Amon-Ra St. Brown had a great game against us. We did a good job against the run, you know, and so I got to give credit to our defense in terms of that. But it was if we do good against the run, we allocate bodies towards that opens up lanes for us to get beat in the secondary, and we don't have the defense to protect both if we're dealing with this type of firepower on with an offense of the Lions. So we don't have we're not that equipped yet, you know. So we still got things to build on and get better at. But man, just I at the end of the day, got to give credit to the Lions, man. We fought hard. Quite honestly, a lot of people, even me, I didn't even expect us to even be in the playoffs or let alone lock up our spot before the last week of the season. We made it to the playoffs. We fought. And hey, man, we got something to build off on. So I can't be super upset about how we played this year. But yeah, man, the Lions deserve it. They got a win they haven't gotten in years. And yeah, man, got to give them their credit.
No, and you summed it up great, man. Like I said, I agree with everything you said, man. Like I said, the Lions came out strong, and it is a kudos to y'all, man, because it was looking like, man,
yeah,
don't get ran off on now,
man. Boy, I was worried. I was worried, Willie Jack.
Now, hey, now, hold on now, but no, like I said, y'all buckled in and battled back, and then Stafford ball, man, and I'll tell you the throw of the game, the pass he hit to I know Vildor was the defender.
Was it DeMarcus Robinson?
DeMarcus Robinson, where Vildor like lays out, and it almost it looked like the ball had to skim his fingernails. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then DeMarcus Robinson catches it and runs, and it ended up being a big game. I don't know if I can't remember if he scored or not, but fantastic.
Hold on, are you talking about Tutu Atwell? Tutu Atwell
scored. No, Tutu Atwell, that's the one.
Atwell scored a touchdown. Yeah, I think you're talking about that one.
And that was Tutu Atwell's only catch of the game.
Yeah,
that touchdown catch right there.
That had to be on the money. They had no choice to be on the money.
Dime. I'm telling you, that's what I thought it could have skimmed the defender's fingernails. You know what I'm saying? Like just an absolute dime. And then even when I watched it and then I saw the replay as well, I was like, man, did he even have to leave his feet? Because I thought he was just in position to just keep undercutting and pick it. But he leaves his feet. I mean, it was a beautiful pass. Tutu Atwell takes it up the sideline, or takes it into the house. But now the issue for me in this game, man, you can't have your heavyweight sit on his stool the whole fight. Where was Cooper Kupp? Cooper Kupp finishes this game, doesn't have 30 yards. You know what I'm saying? You got Puka Nacua who did what he had to do. Puka showed up, 180 yards in a tub. You know what I'm saying? Big catches too, big boy catches. Run through some tackles, get your little ass off me. I'm up the left sideline, give me another 15. Where was Cooper Kupp at? And I'm thinking now off the top of my head, the only highlight or play out that they have Cooper Kupp was when he got locked up in the left end zone when Stafford tried to find him in the top of the left end zone, and I don't know if it was Cam Sutton or somebody had him clamped, and I mean we couldn't get the ball to him, so that's one of those field goals I had to settle for, and just he's too talented of a guy. We see it, we know who and what he is. Man, we gotta have it. I mean, I know he was hurt this year. We needed more of him. We needed more of him, and we needed a little bit more from our run game too. Yeah, but I mean, Kyron had 60 yards on 10, 12 carries. I mean, he didn't get a lot of touches either. I don't think Kyron Williams had 15, 20. I don't think he had because he was out of the game. Oh yeah, he got hurt. He got knocked out. That's right. Yeah, come by second. I remember he was moving a little bit, but but Cooper Kupp, man, that was what was most disappointing, especially when you see Stafford and Puka out there fighting for their damn life. Like, come on, dog. Hey, you gotta show up, big dog. And then on the other side, man, Aiden Hutchinson, and I think I had called him out too because he's been on a tear here lately, man. He had 2 more sacks in this game as well. And man, that boy's been balling, man. His last month of football has just been great to work. He broke that spin back out, and I'm telling you, boy, hey, he started to get near and dear to my heart, boy. I'm telling you. That boy's spin getting cold now. You know what I'm saying? But no, a very tough fought game. The Lions, like I said, you lose that game by 1 point. In the critical moments of the game, man, Amon-Ra St. Brown, first team All-Pro, him and Jared Goff sealed the deal. You know what I'm saying? Third down conversion on a tough, you know what I'm saying? It was close coverage, you know what I'm saying? A tough pass. They get it, man. They walk off. And I know it hurts, but I think one thing we could both agree on, man, if there's any team or any city or even Jared Goff, a player that kind of deserves this type of moment, man, I think it would be the Lions. And so kudos to the Lions, man. That was a hard-fought game in a city that's been starved for anything to celebrate of note. You know what I'm saying? A 30-year dry spell of having a moment like this. So kudos to the Lions.
Absolutely. All right, Willie Jack, keep it pushing, man. Let's get on to this next game, Willie Jack, and I'll let you do your own work, man. I'll let you pour your own salt on the wound, man. Yeah. At least it happened by your stepson. You know?
Yeah.
You know
and you know what, cuz?
Hey, it's like, what? Imagine being in the house. You know what I'm saying? You got your real son, and then you got your stepson. You know what I'm saying? They get into an argument, and you say, as a dad, you say, man, let them figure it out. Let them go at it. And you see your stepson.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I give him the gloves.
Real son out.
Hey, yeah. Hey, I give him the gloves. You know what I'm saying? And stepson whoop my son.
Stepson working your real son out, boy.
Damn.
Woo.
That's kind of what. And you know what's crazy, bro? My beginning of the year prediction, I predicted the Bills to beat the Steelers in the AFC Championship game, but I predicted the Bills to beat the Steelers in the playoffs and then go to the Super Bowl. And then, of course, we got to meet them in the first round. You know, it is what it is. But honestly, man, this game, outside of there was a couple explosive. You know what? Let me start here. The guy that showed up Monday night against Pittsburgh, I don't want to hear it, man. There's nobody you're going to convince me to take over that guy. I'm not picking if we're all on the playground, you know what I'm saying? I don't care if we're playing dodgeball, foosball, freeze tag, you know what I'm saying? Hopscotch, double dutch. I'm not picking anybody over that guy. That's the guy that gets me on that soapbox, banging my chest and standing on the table. That guy right there.
That's the guy that tickles Willie's fancy.
Hey, that's it. but don't tell like that's the guy, man. It's a different kind of special, bro. It's a different kind of special when he's playing like that, and that's the guy he was. And in totality, it wasn't a massive day. He threw for 200 yards, and then he had the 50-yard touchdown run. Which is Josh being Josh, you know what I'm saying? But my Steelers, we had to have a very specific way for this game to go for us to have a legitimate chance to win this game. It was going to start with ball control and establishing our run game. And kudos to the Bills. Their run defense was excellent. I mean, they knew it was no secret. They knew like we knew what we had to do to win the game, and they definitely showed up. But we shot ourselves in the foot. It's a 2-score game here. There's 2 plays that happened in the first half that this game theoretically could have been 14-14 at halftime. We get the fumble by George Pickens. We turn the ball over in the red zone. They get a touchdown the next play there. And then also to close out the half, we throw it in it. We're on a 5-yard line. We go empty. As soon as I see us go empty on the 5, I'm like, don't get – what are we doing? I thought we was empty. We'll motion Warner, Najee back in. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, sometimes we do that, make them identify the coverage, you know, whatever. We stay empty, and we throw an interception from our own 5-yard line in a game. You know what I'm saying? So there's and then you know what? Yeah, the interception in the end zone, and then kudos to the Bills. They get a big strike play there, and so there's a 14-point swing from there. And so a game that we're definitely outgunned. You know what I'm saying? So there was not going to be any question that we're outgunned, realistic expectations, and be what it is. The writing's on the wall. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, man, we played that game 10 times. Maybe we win 2 of them. So it was going to be an uphill battle. But one thing that I can say, and this is a kudos to Mike Tomlin, and I know there's a lot of fire Tomlin or Tomlin's not the guy. He can't get over the hump. We're on a playoff one and done run ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Talking about the Cowboys, we're on that. We're in the midst of one of those streaks as well. But there was a point in which we came back and made this a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, we came back and made this a damn game now. It's 17-24 in the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? And we start rolling. We put a couple drives together. Had to settle for a field goal on one before our last touchdown. To Deontay got one and then Cam Monster got one. But anyway, we had a chance to come back and make this a drive. I think that's when we get the Josh Allen long touchdown run. I think that was their last touchdown of the day. And that was on like a 3rd and long. You know what I'm saying? We couldn't get pressure without TJ Watt, and then Josh takes the game to his hands and man, essentially puts the nail in the coffin. But kudos to those guys. The better team won. Like I said, I can't say nothing bad or negative about them. Like if you're playing Jordan and he doesn't have the flu, then you've got to go 20 for 20 from the field. You can't. You know what I'm saying? We can't. We scored on the other basket. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Using an example, like the way we shot ourselves in the foot and you're already playing Jordan. Or you know what I'm saying? If you're playing horse with Steph Curry, you better be able to do some shit ain't nobody seen yet. You know what I'm saying? Because all he's got to do is just show up and be him. You know what I'm saying? So it was already tough sledding. We lost to the better team. We didn't do ourselves any favors. We battled back. We tried to make it tough. All the hallmarks of a Mike Tomlin team. We're not just going to roll over. We didn't cowboy it. You know what I'm saying? We didn't just flat out roll over. You know what I'm saying? We battled back. We gave ourselves a slight chance, but at the end of the day, man, we did it just as much damage to ourselves as they did. And like I said, man, we lost to the better team.
There you go, Willie Jack. And I feel like you summed it up pretty good for the most part. And like you said, man, you guys shot yourself in the foot. The 2 early turnovers, the 1 unforced fumble, the silly interception, and then the uncharacteristic missed tackles, Willie Jack. I think.
There we go. I meant to touch
that was one thing that stood out to me because I even saw Minka missing tackles, and maybe that comes from being hurt and not having his football legs under him and getting enough reps to be ready, but. He missed a few tackles. One on that touchdown run late in the game. I forgot what was the wide receiver name that scored that late touchdown.
Oh, yeah, Khair Shakur. Oh no, that was the last one. The Josh touchdown was the second to last thing. Yeah, that Khair Shakur.
Yeah. So it was one of those where I feel like, well, Minka don't normally miss those tackles. You know what I'm saying? Minka's not the type of safety that misses tackles. So it was those mistakes. It was a little bit of that rust from certain players being out in the field, man. And it looked like y'all weren't ready to be there from the start. But like you said, y'all did start to get it together. You know, y'all eventually start getting the things together, you know, and y'all get within one score in the second half. You know what I'm saying? But at that point, I think that's when the Bills kind of put the last little nail in the coffin to kind of finish this game off. And yeah, man, like you said with Josh, he had a perfect game, and you don't get too many of those from Josh. But when Josh does have that perfect game,
it's nothing like it, man.
It's rough out there for people. Yeah. I'm talking about running the ball. I'm talking about passing the ball. Well, we knew he was gonna run the ball because I kind of told y'all that, you know.
But no, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Like, man, that boy was in the open field, and I assume like one of DeMonte KZ, who came back from the suspension from the hit. From that illegal hit or whatever, he missed the tackle on that one when Josh decided to stay in bounds and break his little ass off and then take it on to the crib.
And there's no reason he shouldn't have been tackled because you even see Josh Allen kind of cover with 2 hands, bracing himself, thinking, all right, I'm finna get hit. But I just the same way we saw with the Miami Dolphins, like, I don't know, man, it's a little too cold to be out here trying to hit Isaiah Pacheco as he running this hard. I think a couple of those guys made the decision and say, I don't know, man, this 250-pound quarterback, he coming through. He ain't sliding. I don't know if I'm going to get in front of that. You know what I'm saying? So I think I saw a little bit of that. But other than that, what he said, I think you summed it up perfectly, man. Bills came out ready to roll from start to finish. It took the Steelers a little bit to get going. But once they did get going, it was a little bit too late. And Bills had already established momentum and that the fact that it was their time. They came out with business on their mind, and they took care of business for sure.
No doubt.
Absolutely, Willie Jack. All right, on to and Zach DeMac. Appreciate you, Zach DeMac. He came in with the name too, Khalil Shakur.
So, okay, yeah, for sure, yeah.
Appreciate that, Zach DeMac, with that name, man. But on to the last game. Jarrell, I hope you ain't running. I ain't seen you in his comments lately. Don't run, brother. Do not run, man. But we had the Philadelphia Eagles go to Tampa Bay to take on the Bucks at home. And yeah, man, I changed my mind on this game last minute. I don't know.
Yes, you did.
Thinking the boy was definitely overthinking. And as my dog BP from No Balls, No Glory says, he said, man, I was unstable in my decision making. So hey, I live with that, man. I accept it. But yeah, man, the Eagles win this game 32-9, man, and they just put ultimately they put a cap on what ended up being an ugly end to a season for the Philadelphia Eagles, man. It was just ugly. I saw some of the now. I know I talked about y'all tackling. I talked about the Miami's tackling. This may have been the worst tackling game that I've seen of all the playoffs in the wild card weekend, man. Eagles tackling was terrible. I wish I could have pulled like the amount of broken tackles that the Bucks had, because I know it says broken tackles, but these were more so like missed tackles than they were broken tackles, because the Bucks didn't have to do too much to break the tackles that the Eagles were trying to pursue. And even a veteran safety like Kevin Byard, man, I was wondering, like, is this the safety they brought over here? He looked nothing like the Kevin Byard that we're used to seeing. The guy that was, a former All-Pro, and at one point was in the running, not this year, but in the years past, in the running or in talks for possible defensive player of the year. Like, this looked nothing like that particular guy in this particular game. And then on top of that, Hurts not playing at a high level. Now we've been talking about Hurts a lot this year in terms of the type of performances he's been having, and I even said this from the beginning of the year. Too is when you get him uncomfortable and you get him out of his comfort zone, he becomes a top 17 quarterback. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just throwing a number out there, but he's no
just
longer
average. Just say you just
he just becomes an average quarterback because he can't sit there, and it was so prominent and easy to see in this game because he didn't try to manipulate the coverages at all. They got a lot of zone from Levante David and White, and he would stare his targets down from the moment he snapped the ball to they get into their routes. And you can tell, like, when QB play, I played a little bit of QB. I didn't play QB at too high of a level, but I know QB one-on-one, and from watching football enough, I know what this looks like. If you got a linebacker playing zone, I got a tight end over there in my slot. He's running like a curl or a hitch or whatever you want to call it. In order to be able to hit that hitch for that first down, it's 3rd and 5. I have to take my eyes this way to get that linebacker to move and open up some area in the space for me to hit Goddard right there when I need to hit him and time it. And it's an easy pass, easy route. You do that, you move your eyes, and then you come here last minute. You know where the route is going to be. You know the play. You called it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or at least you should be.
Now you calling in the huddle? Yeah.
You should be there for me with the offense to know what everybody's doing on every single play. So it's those simple things that's QB 101 at the NFL. In the NFL, everybody should know how to do that. Those were simple things that he wasn't able to do in this game, which caused the Bucs to be able to dominate defensively and make Jalen Hurts and his offense look silly, and Willie Jack, you talked about the offensive coordinators and the defensive coordinator and those guys being gone. Their run game looks just as vanilla as the Cowboys run game. Like, it's, to me, they're almost identical in the style that they try with their run game, except the Eagles try to run with their quarterback a lot. But in terms of handing it off to DeAndre Swift and handing it off to Tony Pollard, their run games look very similar, man. So I don't know what's going on with the Eagles, but they're going to have to make some changes in this offseason for sure. They're going to make some adjustments and come back better. Not to mention being out A.J. Brown. We knew that was going to hurt them, but I didn't think this bad in terms of how they looked the last 6 games of the season. So, man, terrible performance by the Eagles, man. And got to give kudos to the Bucs, though. Can't take no credit away from them, that offense, and the way Baker Mayfield has performed. And I gotta say, Willie Jack, it looked like he's starting to find his mojo back, man. Starting to get his swagger back. Starting to become that guy that was at Oklahoma with just the moxie and the swag and just the way he playing the game. He's starting to get that back a little bit, man. And we're getting a better Baker Mayfield, man. So got to give credit there. and the way they're performing. So they get their W and they move on to the next round.
No, for sure. And then man, shout out to Big Bake, man. Shout out to Big Bake. Y'all want to talk about a redemption story? Boy, Baker Mayfield got left for dead. Then somebody backed back over him with another truck. They got out. Somebody burnt the body. They cut him up. They buried him in different pieces. Like everybody was done with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield had played for. I seen a graphic. They said Baker's played for 4 teams in the last 18 months. You know what I'm saying? Like they showed pictures of Baker Mayfield being the scout team defensive end in Carolina, and now this year he's a division champion and a playoff winner. Shout out to Big Baker Mayfield, man. But not in other things, well, man, he had a fantastic day. 22 for 36, 337, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, and I think he set some type of team record for the first quarterback in Bucs history or whatever, for whatever that's worth. But to have 300 yards and 3 touchdowns in the same playoff game, and that includes, I guess, you know what I'm saying, terrible Tom Brady, or no, not terrible Tom. Terrible Tom just slid in the chat throwing me off. But Tom Brady in his championship run with the Bucs, I guess he didn't necessarily put up the 303 touchdown stat, and Baker Mayfield does it in their first win. But no, I think you summed this up pretty good, man. Like terrible tackling by the Eagles. This is a team that's just been floundering though for the better part of. I mean, well, they lost 5 of the last 6. I mean, for the better part of 2 months, they've really been struggling, really been floundering, and it was just kind of more of the same in this game. The only guy that showed up was Devontae Smith. You know what I'm saying? Like he may have been the only guy to show up for them. He has a big day, 8 for 148 for what that's worth in a game in which you're not really competitive in the whole time. But no, kudos to those Bucs, man. I'm happy to see them. I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait to see their game next week against Detroit. I think we can get some fireworks. Oh, you know what? Oh no, we're not gonna talk about it today because that's the Sunday game. Okay, because so I'll let that lie. But the biggest thing for me, just like you said, kudos to Baker Mayfield. Kudos to those Buccaneers for sure. And then also, in addition to the things you said about Jalen Hurts, one other thing I want to say as well is with that offense, like they couldn't pick up. I don't think they handled pressure well. Like the Bucs.
No,
the Bucs, like once they seen that, like, and some of this or a lot of this is going to be on, well, not only just the coaching and the staff as well, but on Jalen as well, like recognizing where I'm hot from, and you know what I'm saying, like just replace the blitz. If nothing else, you know what I'm saying, like if we don't know nothing else, extra guys are coming. Find one of those extra guys and replace them with the ball. You know what I'm saying?
Ask a lot of professionals, a lot of analysts about the sack. A lot of them are going to tell you that it is a QB stat just as well as it is an offensive line stat.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact for sure. And so they didn't see, read, or understand the pressure or the whatever they were doing. And then kudos to Ty Bowles and his staff as well, because like once they realized that, they doubled down and boy, they start firing. You know what I'm saying? Like they let them dogs pin their ears back and they just stayed on, man. And Hurts in that offense, they couldn't work around. They couldn't punish them for it. They couldn't make them pay. And I mean, they just couldn't keep them off of them. You know what I'm saying? Flat out. And so a bad night turns ugly. But like I said, man, just like I said, this it's not a surprise. The Cowboys game, we can say, is a surprise. It wasn't a surprise in the fact that this team is, like we said, they've been floundering now for the better part of a month and a half, almost 2 months. And so it's been a team on the decline. And just like Chop said earlier, the most important thing at this time of year is your momentum. You want to be a team on the rise at this time. You know what I mean? So you want to be the Packers. The Packers didn't have as great a year as the Eagles did, but the Packers are going up and the Eagles are going down right now. You know what I'm saying? So none of that, the other part doesn't matter. And so, yeah, man, just a terrible end to the season, man, especially with everything as an Eagles fan. My dog Jarrell, man, I know you're in here day one game. I know coming off of last year and the heights that you guys reached, being so close to being champions, and then you think you're going to come back and build on that, and then to see this year go and end the way it did, man, it's got to be I mean, I can only imagine it's a terrible feeling.
Gotcha. Hey, I'm with you there, Willie Jack, and I mean, I guess we can't talk about one game though. We can't talk about one game. Going to
perfect time. Go ahead.
And since terrible time has rolled in a bit. Actually, before that, Willie Jack, before we jump into that, I'm sorry. Hold on 1 second, terrible time. We're gonna talk about this game in just a second, man. Give me your performer of the week, man. Who was your performer of the week this past week?
Man, you know, no, man, I'll make it. I'll make it easy peasy, man. I'm going Josh Allen, and it's not necessarily the stats, but because he only threw for 200 yards. You know what I'm saying? And I think he ended up rushing for 70 on the strength of that 50-yard touchdown run. But just everything that he did in that game was just. It was exactly like it was just he was firing at his highest level. And if that would have been a game in which they needed 40 points just on the strength of his arm, you know what I'm saying? If it was a game in which he needed to have 40 attempts on that type of night, the way he's playing, boy, he probably goes 38 for 40 and throws for 450 yards. Like it was just, you know what I'm saying? He was just firing on all levels, man, and it was just special. It was just special watching him man, tear my team apart. But thankfully, like I said, we only had to see it in a small dose, and they got that dub, man. But I'll go Josh Allen.
Gotcha. And obviously, terrible time. You know, we don't surprise at all. Feels like CJ Stroud should have been performing a week.
And I'm gonna tell you what, because we didn't talk about that game today. We didn't talk about that game. We talked about Green Bay, Dallas, LA, Detroit, Pittsburgh, Buffalo. Those was the options, ain't they?
Well, it is performer of the week. It is performer of the week. So if he wants to ride with CJ Stroud,
no, that's fair. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't even think about them because we didn't talk about them tonight. Yeah, because we talked about them on Sunday.
I mean, it's all good. Let Terrible Time do his thing, man. Let him do his thing. But I think I'm gonna go with Jordan Love, man. I like the way
I figured you would, yeah. As I figured you would.
And quite honestly, man, it was just one of those special performances, man, and just like I said about CJ Stroud, and nothing taken away from CJ Stroud, Tom, but I feel like both of those guys were really coming into their own and trying to step into, you know, superstar status, you know. So that's what those guys are trending as of right now, and the way that they're performing in the playoffs. So got to give some credit to Jordan Love. Got to give credit to CJ Stroud too. But if I had to pick one, I think I'd go with Jordan Love, man. Love.
And you know what's crazy? They had identical stats. I think CJ Stroud had 2 more yards, but they had the same exact stat line as for both of their first playoff starts. 16 for 21, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. CJ threw for, I think, 274, and Jordan Love threw for 272, if I remember right. They were 2 yards apart, but everything else about their stat lines was completely identical. So that's crazy as well. Gotcha. But yeah, no. Like in hindsight, yeah, I think both those guys got to get the nod for sure.
Absolutely. All right, Willie Jack, let's go on to Saturday, man, because we got 2 Saturday games. And actually, these 2 Saturday games are probably my favorite games of this divisional round, man. Because it's for specific reasons. The first game on the docket, man, our early Saturday game, we got the Terrible Time Houston Texans going to Baltimore to take on the Ravens, man. Willie Jack, go ahead and talk to me, man. Who you got, brother?
You know what, man, and I'm not gonna lie to you, man. I am pulling for the Texans. I'm pulling for the Texans, man. I think the seeing the Texans. And like I said, my dog Tom in the building, but seeing the Texans perform the way they did against the Browns defense, you know what I'm saying? It's one thing for Flacco to play the way he did and throw interceptions and whatever the case, but that ain't got nothing to do with CJ Stroud going against a premier defense in this league. So if the Ravens are the best defense in the league, the Browns was 1B, you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think that level of defense is on par with what he's going to see from the Ravens, and I just saw how he torched that, just how they were able to just have their way, so to say, with a very talented Browns defense. And also, honestly, like I like the Browns secondary better than I like their corner room better. Denzel Ward and Martin Emerson, who had a damn good year this year. I like that combo over Marlon Humphrey and the other old boy at the corner position. And like I said, and then seeing how hot that Nico Collins and CJ Stroud not only were this past Saturday, but how hot they have been since he returned back from his own injury. I mean, they've been having their way, man, dicing boys up. And so I still expect that magic to continue. The only thing that probably does worry me a little bit in this game is let's say if the Ravens do get their power run game going, because that could be worrisome. I think the Texans defense on their front, they're getting good production from their edges. And Jonathan Grenard, Will Anderson really came on the second half of the year and had a fantastic year, but they're still soft in the middle, so to say. And so if we get a power downhill run game going with Gus Edwards and with that committee, and then also, like I said, if Lamar is able to stretch those edges and then that starts to open up their deep play action. We get Zay Flowers on deep crossers and things like that. That could be worrisome. Derek Stingley, though, for the Texans, he's been playing fantastic ball since he returned from IR.
Both of those corners.
Yeah, no, Desmond King had a good game. As well in the slot, but yeah, he had a damn good game as well against the Browns. But Stingley's been playing phenomenal. Man, put Amari in a box all Saturday. You know what I'm saying? And so they're playing very well. But I just feel I'm pulling for the Texans. And you know what I'm saying? And then the inner Steeler in me as well, especially in these playoffs. It's gonna be damn hard for me to pick the Ravens to go any further. That's gonna be hard for me to do anyway, if I'm being honest with you. But legitimately, I think the Texans are definitely they're the hotter team. The Ravens haven't played, and you know what? Shout out to ZB because ZB put it in the chat. Ravens haven't played a real game in 3 weeks. You know what I'm saying? Or Lamar hasn't played a real game in 3 weeks, and that stuff matters, man. Because now you're coming in cold. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're coming in cold, so. Especially if they don't get out to a hot start to start this game, and if Houston's still rolling, then man, that could be worrisome or troublesome for them as well. Especially like I said, when you got a young hot team that's playing with house money, they too young and dumb to even know or to even be scared of the moment. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a very dangerous matchup, man. So I'm pulling for the Texans. I'm gonna go 27-24. 27-24. CJ Stroud and those Texans get it done on the road in Baltimore.
Hey man, we need to get time out the chat, man.
I seen he been over spamming messages, but I couldn't read them while I'm talking.
He said so many. He done Tom in a span of 5 minutes. Tom then called you Skip Bayless. He done said
Skip Bayless.
Listen. He done essentially called you, a disgrace, essentially, and then as soon as you pick the Texans, he said he take everything back. You ain't Skip Bayless. He said,
you see this? Look at this. You see this? See how a dog do me? You see this? I expected better for you, Tom. We supposed to be better than that, man. Golly.
Yeah, and ZB got a very, very good point, man. If the Texans do pull this one off, man, we definitely got to mute Tom chat, man. We got to get him. He can't come. If the Texans beat the Ravens.
Man, look, we might have to mute Tom in the group chat. Because, man, he going to be unbelievable. He started sending good morning messages, Texas to the Super Bowl. Or whatever he said the other day.
That was the first thing he said in the morning.
Yeah.
First thing he said. Sure. But you know what? I'm sorry, Tom. And Tom probably going to go off on me right now, man. But I'm going Ravens, man. I'm going Ravens. And here's the thing with this, man. Because I'm going to put this warning out here. I'm going with the Ravens with the understanding and the belief that they can get it together as well. They can put it together to where they are able to come out and have a really play the games that they've been playing all season. Their defense has been playing phenomenal. They've been playing lights out all year long on all phases. The up front, I'm talking about that linebacker play. We already talked about Patrick Queen and Roquan and their defensive backs. You know what I'm saying? That unit together has been playing very, very good football. On top of that, we also the schemes that they've been able to put together to stop these teams, like the scheme they put together for the scheme they put together to beat the 49ers, stopping what they did best, was a great scheme they put together. And I think they're going to try to come up with something, for this Houston Texans team as well, and for CJ Stroud. So I think, that's going to be a part of it. And then on the other side of it, Lamar, I think he's going to be a little bit smarter with the ball than Joe Flacco was. Joe Flacco was a little careless, and that allowed the Houston Texans to get those back-to-back pick sixes and really, get away with this game. Baltimore Ravens attack is going to be a little bit more balanced, and I like, the approach they're going to have to take approach they're going to have to take with this game to come away with the W. On the other side of it, Houston, Texas, man, and this is the crazy part. It looks like they got a quarterback that can offset all that. A quarterback with the type of playing that he's been producing with type of production he's been coming to the games with. This is the type of quarterback play that can offset any of those advantages that the Baltimore Ravens had. The same with the Dallas Cowboys and Jordan Love. He can offset any of those disadvantages. And both of these quarterbacks did the first round of the playoffs. Now it's up to the second round. What can they do in the second round? The matchup is going to be a little bit tougher. The teams you playing is going to be a little bit tighter. So what can you do? Nico Collins is showing up and saying he's a superstar as well. It don't matter who you got guarding them. They're going to have a long day ahead of them. I'm a big body receiver, and I'm coming out to make plays. So that's what's going to be the key for Houston Texans is C.J. Stroud and Nico Collins continuing to get the connection going while their defense being able to slow down and force the Ravens into difficult plays. All in all, I'm still going to go with the Ravens. I got the Ravens in this game, and I think they can win this game at home. I'll say 27-24 in a close one. 27-24, they win this one in a 3-point game. Did you give me a score of this game, Willie Jack?
Yeah, I was just about to say we got the same score, but just different teams. I got Houston 27-24, and you had Baltimore 27-24.
All right. Well, hey, man, I'm very excited to see that game, Willie Jack. I wish we was all in the same state or city. Man, we can sit down and we can talk some trash. But you know what? I don't know if I want to be in the same room as Tom, man. Tom might not let
no. Tom gonna be unbearable. Tom gonna be unbearable if they win or if they lose. Right?
Man, throughout the game.
Either way, Tom gonna be. Now I take it back because I remember a certain night, man. There was one of my fondest memories since Tom was in here was watching Bud Crawford beat the Kool-Aid out of Earl Spence and just watching Tom just shrink. Tom just shrunk smaller and smaller in his chair. Boy, you'd have thought Tom was going to fall through the floor. he just got so sad and quiet the longer the fight went on, man. But yeah, man. But now, that's going to be definitely a great game to watch, man. Of course, terrible time, man. He said he'd take the Texans by 2 scores. And he said either way, you might shed a tear, man. He said win or lose, man. Tears of happiness or sadness, we have to find out. But yeah, he said he's taking his Texans big.
Hey, what's wrong with this dude, man? Lamar Eagles.
I see that too.
This dude, what's wrong with him, man? Come on, Willie Jack. Let's go to the night game, man. The night Saturday game, man. We got the Green Bay Packers going to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. And this is another one of those games, very similar to the Ravens and the Houston Texans. Jordan Love can offset all of this. You know what I'm saying? Doesn't matter that the 49ers outmatched them in all facets of the game. Mm-hmm. The play of Jordan Love could offset that, okay? But I'm still going 49ers in this game. And the reason why is because I think it's deeper than just Jordan Love with this one, because we saw Aaron Rodgers dominate up until they had to go face the San Francisco 49ers. And when the San Francisco 49ers faced the Green Bay Packers, the 49ers hit them in the mouth a couple years in a row. Even with the Green Bay Packers being the number 1 seed in the NFC, the 49ers hit the Packers right in the mouth. And I think that's more so on the coaching and scheme side of things. I think the 49ers are going to be able to do the same thing. Matt LaFleur has yet to get over that hump of defeating the Kyle Shanahan-led team, getting past the defense, getting past the physicality, and I don't think they do it this time. I think this well-oiled machine, they come after this bye week ready to go. The run game is going to be ready, and everything is going to be flowing at all cylinders, man. So I'm going 49ers in this game. I think the 49ers win this one. Give them 34 to 20, 34-24. They win this one by 10.
Oh, yeah, and I'm also taking San Francisco in this one as well. I think almost like last week's victory against the Cowboys was almost like it was such a big victory the way they did it. And like I said, they're such a young team as well. It almost feels like they might already fired their silver bullet. And so everything that Dallas did or didn't do, so to say, in that game, I think San Francisco is going to be able to run the ball. You know what I'm saying? Like they are going to be able to be effective in the pass game because Brock Purdy, unlike Dak Prescott, sometimes Dak Prescott can take off and and try to just put the game on his arm. Well, Kyle Shanahan ain't gonna let that happen. You know what I'm saying? We already know what's going on, man. Hey, look here, Brock. 1 + 1 is 2. 2 + 2 is 3. All right, that math didn't. Okay, now that math makes sense. But what I'm saying is, everything is going to be accounted for. Everything's going to be structured. And like I said, and I think they're definitely going to be balanced. I think that defense is going to be sound and fundamental. That Cowboys defense hasn't played well for the last couple months of the season either. So I just think it's just a whole nother ball game. This Niners team is hungry. This is the Niners team that we can't forget. They still feel like they left a championship on the field last year. If it asked them, you know what I'm saying? Like they still feel like that they've been ticking off to get to this moment, and so they're, I think, going to be primed and ready to go. And honestly, I definitely expect them to go out and handle business. I got it 27-20, San Francisco. San Francisco plays. I think Green Bay and Jordan Love. I don't expect them to play nearly as well as they did, but I think that I expect them to give a good showing before, like I said. But San Francisco, I think, is just going to be too good and really settle in and kind of just take this one away.
Absolutely, Willie Jack. Absolutely. So I'm with there. I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. All right, man.
Oh,
that's pretty much it. And that's all, man.
Okay.
Who gets the game ball, man? Who gets the game ball tonight?
You know what, man? Shout out to our dog, man, Odie Bagodi. Man, shout out to ZB, man. ZB holding us down in the chat all night long. You know we appreciated my dog. And so you get him on. Go ahead, put my dog boy, man. Put my dog name in the lights. Yeah, there we go, man. So shout out to ZB, man. You know we appreciate it. And then, yeah, man, before we might as well get a quick rundown, man, before we get up out of here, man. Make a good time tonight, too. You know, we love that. Day one game, Jarrell was first one in the door, man. 2023 Let the Film Speak Fantasy League champion. Day one game, Jarrell, man. So there you go. I know you're sad about those Eagles. Feel good about your trophy, boy, because it's on the way, my dog. ZB was, of course, in this thing. The fan bam was in. My sister, my nephew came in. Moms, I seen you in here as well. Man, my dog, man, terrible time. Walker was in this thing, hold it down for those Texans. And then, man, sis and wife of the show, Mrs. LaShonda Boyce, she was definitely in here as well. And then, man, for the rest of y'all know what's going on now. I was looking for you. But I couldn't find you. So, without further ado, you can say it with me at home. If I forgot to say your name, charge it to my head, do not charge it to my heart. You know we think about. We appreciate all the love support as always. And then, hey, Sunday, divisional round. We're getting closer and closer to the big dance. We got some very exciting games. We'll be back Sunday. Forgive me, Chop. I'm stumbling all over myself. We'll be back Sunday, but Saturday, y'all be sure to lock in and tune in, and then get right back up Sunday, 10 o'clock, tapping with your dogs, and we'll see what happens before we get ready for for divisional weekend as well. Until then, y'all be easy, be smooth. Have a good night. Peace.
Peace.